The new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook Wild Game Recipes for the Grill, Smoker, Campfire, and Camp Stove is out on April 24th and is available for pre-order now. Here is your book for everything that's best cooked or eaten outside. From grilling to open fire cooking to Dutch ovens to smokers to barbecue to backpacking meals to how to pull off the perfect fish fry, with pit stops along the way for lessons about Ice Age cooking methods and the best 5 ways to construct a cooking fire you can be proud of. And of course, we're focusing on wild game and fish here with over 100 recipes, including stuffed venison burgers 3 ways, wild duck with ahi verde sauce, a jerky made with cola, a gin and tonic made with fire-charred lemons, and grilled frog legs made with a sticky sweet sauce. This ain't your normal cookbook, so be prepared to be surprised. Pre-order your copy now. For more info, visit themeateater.com.
Hey, this is Bart Crow, and you got it right here on the Element Podcast.
Tonight, I need you by my side. Hold on to me and keep me in the light. And when the shadows get long and the whippoorwill song is so loud that it hurts, I need to be with you tonight so I can stay on the bright side of the earth.
What is happening, all you woods snow people? This is KC and Tyler on the Element Podcast, like you just heard from another one of our buddies. Tyler, who are we talking to today?
We're going to be talking to Bart Crow. He is a guy that I know from several years ago, playing some music together and touring around the country doing things.
Yeah. And, he wasn't wearing a ring the other night, which was kind of weird. But I think that Bart has like the tattoo wedding ring thing going on, so it's cool. But before we get to Bart and the interview that we did with him, guys, I know that you're like zoned in, working hard or driving or whatever, but what a great opportunity to pull over, use the bathroom, take a break, go get a donut, and head over to the Element YouTube channel right now. Hit subscribe if you haven't, and take a screenshot and send it to us in a message. All right? Send it to us Facebook or Instagram, and you will enter our 1,000/11,000, actually, I'm sorry, 1,000, 10,000 /11,000 subscriber giveaway over on YouTube. Guys, we are giving away a ton of stuff, and we don't do these cheesy giveaway stuff that often, like we're not going to be like, oh, here's a used sock that we, would you please subscribe, whatever. Like it's a big deal. Yeah, we watched it. There's one merino one that's gray and one merino one that's black. But anyways, we're going to give away a bunch of stuff here because we really appreciate y'all helping us get to this point. We know that a lot of y'all have been subscribed on YouTube for a very long time, and we appreciate the comments, the likes, the shares, all that stuff. But if you would do this for us so we can keep on keeping on, it's what we really need to do. So anyways, we're giving away a ton of stuff. It's all stuff that we use, that we love, that help us kill deer home and away. So go subscribe on YouTube, send us a screenshot, and you'll be entered into that giveaway. So it's Texan thing, right? So there's
That's only part 1, though, right?
Huh?
That's only part 1, though, right?
Oh, yeah. Part 2's coming this week on Instagram, so be ready. There's a part 2 where you get extra entries. This is a Texan thing, right? So we have a Grande prize, not Starbucks. Texans did this, not Starbucks. Okay, we got a Grande prize, which is the big dog, and we got some grand prizes, okay? So the Grande prize, you win pretty much everything that Tyler and I use on a daily or weekly basis to go deer hunting. It's pretty awesome. Outside of our bows, but you're going to get arrows, you're going to get broadheads, you're going to get camo, you're going to get backpacks, you're going to get it all. And all these prizes come with a elite subscription to Onyx. Not just like single state. We're talking all 50 states. Legit, in 2021, you can travel to Maine and go hunt deer and find public land there because Onyx is giving you that state. So be sure, go screenshot the screen showing that you're subscribed to the Element YouTube channel and send it to us in a message. Now, that's all for the plug, guys. Tyler, tell us about your bro, Mr. Crow.
Oh, he is he's a guy that, like I said, I know from way back, and he's a good dude, man. always seemed to care about people and be a little less interested in, where he and his famedom and music were taken, and more about kind of the relationships in the industry and stuff. And so I naturally kind of, was, I guess, drawn to him. And we played several shows together that were really good, kind of regionally and that kind of thing. And I don't know, we just had a lot of fun. And so I kind of know him from those days. And we did some trash talking, on Twitter and stuff quite a bit, just to kind of freak everybody out, like we were actually getting into fights, and then we would, we ended up keeping up with each other, kind of, we'll text every once in a while, a couple times a year, several times a year, and see how everything's going, and even though, me and my band haven't toured formally and full time for 5 years or so probably now, but still play music and stuff, and still think about him, see what's going on with him in his life. He enjoys his family and that kind of thing, so we kind of have some of the same values. And then so I'm looking on Instagram, kind of scrolling through one day, I think it was, and I see BART has killed an elk. And I'm like, is this guy clowning or not? Like, is he, did he Photoshop this or something? Because I didn't know Bart was a hunter,
Yeah.
And I think as you'll find out in this podcast, you'll kind of see that he is, he had a hiatus, I guess you'd say, for a while there. But it seems like he's kind of getting back into the swing of hunting. Seems to have enjoyed it this year and gone several times. And so I was like, man, this be a good, different angle. And, we don't have to have, the same 14 guys that have been on every podcast to talk about whitetail tactics this week. We can have a guy talk about his journey and what that looks like, what hunting means to him, and maybe somebody can relate to that. And maybe there's some information in there as well that you can use to think about concepts and stuff like that as you go forward in your own outdoor journey,
Yeah, for sure. I think that it's very relatable for a lot of people, especially the working folks who used to hunt a lot, maybe hunted with their dad and granddad, and then, just life's got busy and you don't get to go that much anymore. And if you do, it's, kind of quick on some, your in-laws property or whatever. And that's kind of how Bart's been. And then this year he just kind of, set the woods on fire pretty much, just getting after it. And I think he's fixing to go duck hunting, and he's just kind of getting back into stuff, man. It's pretty cool. And really there's a lot of life stuff in here that's pretty relatable for a lot of folks. But I'm going to give a caveat, give a disclaimer here. Y'all, if you got youngins listening to the podcast, not that there's a lot of bad words or just lewd, crude things in here, but we talk a lot about some real life stuff, with some substance abuse and just struggles that people have. So if you want to, it'd be a great opportunity to use this as a teaching tool, to your kids, and to talk about some real life stuff. Or if you're not quite into that, or your kids aren't quite ready for it, maybe it's a good time just maybe turn this one off until later. But either way, I really enjoyed getting to talk to Bart. It's funny, circa 2009, 2010, there was a KC with a bear haircut and much better hairline out, two-stepping in College Station to this guy singing on stage. Never would I have thought that, I'd just be chilling in a fisherman's motel room doing a podcast with, two guys on a bed and in their socks. You know what I mean? Like,
it's getting weird.
I was on a chair, luckily. What?
Yeah, no, that's it was a good night, man, for sure. I think anytime we can get to do one in person, it's unfortunate that we don't get to do more of them in person, but we just don't have the means and method to do that right now, especially during hunt season. But it'd be nice to be Joe Rogan and fly everybody out to Emory, Texas, and have a studio set up and interview all these people. But yeah, it's good to have it in person, man. It's just a lot easier to communicate. It's a lot more personal. And it was a fun time, man. Like most musicians, there's some kind of artistic dark side that you feel like a lot of musicians have to go through to write good music or whatever. And so like a lot of these guys, like BART and others have been through that stuff. And I think there's also kind of a certain type of person that kind of tends to be that way, I guess, in a for lack of a better phrase or term. But like he's he's definitely, you can tell that there's a different kind of joy these days, I think. And so that's a good thing, man. I'm happy for him and look forward to people listening to this conversation and giving feedback, hopefully, on what they liked about it or what they, would like to hear more. So.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The first part of the conversation is a lot of, music and live talk, and then Bart gets into some of his hunting stuff there at the end, or not at the end. It's, 2/3 of the way through or whatever, but it's just a good long conversation. And I had a lot of fun, man. Yeah, he's a funny guy. So it's
he is, man.
Good dude to hang out with.
Dude, have you hunted this week?
I have. I've hunted at my property twice. Nothing too crazy. I'm, to the point of naming does because I see them every day, which is just a story of East Texas, late season hunting. You just, if you run a feeder on your property, you're going to have your resident does, and you just kind of, I don't know. It's a tough game, and I don't have enough time to hunt every day to go and hope that a buck shows up. But that's kind of what you got to do, is just hope that a buck shows up or tries to swing through and see if there's any late cycle young does or something that didn't get bred first go around. I've got a mature 8-point that's found the corn. I haven't got any daylight pictures of him yet, but as winter pushes on, kind of that post-Christmas time is a good time to maybe catch one kind of slipping a little bit. So it's kind of what I'm hoping for. But I think you and I are probably going to really get after the Texas public stuff the next few weeks because my wife is fixing to go on, what do they call that? Winter break? Christmas break. Yeah. So is yours. And so we're about to just rage and kill all the deer, hopefully. So I'm looking forward to that, man.
It can be a tough time of year to be hunting, the eastern half of Texas. So,
golly.
We'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Guys, real quick, if you're interested, there's an Element DIY hunting page on Facebook. Ask to join that group, and it's a place where we do a lot of kind of more forum-style discussion stuff, and we're also talking about doing a meetup/hog hunt in the spring. So if you're interested in that, go join that page, and you'll be able to, we'll talk about the details and see what, when, and where, and how about that deal. But right now, man, let's get to the conversation with Bart.
Sounds good.
So we've got Bart Crow here in his hotel room. He invited us in. It's cozy, echoey place right in here.
Lots of linoleum.
Yeah. Bart's wearing his Texas socks. Man, you could pretty much always count on you to have something that says something on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like in the boots video, where'd you get? Do you just have that stuff in your closet?
Well, my wife's a set designer and a wardrobe.
Oh, okay. I didn't know
that. For film. And she's a photographer, so I have access to things. If you notice, they don't always fit really properly. But
yeah.
I somehow get them.
It's all right.
I get them on.
Yeah. It's all right. So they look cool.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a little bit of Elvis, a little Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah.
Different things going on there.
Yeah. Kind of Elvis in his heavier years.
With blonde hair. Yeah. No, I watched that video, and I like that song a lot, man.
Thanks, man.
It's got, the whole album has cool vibes, man.
I think
like
so.
What you did with it.
I think we quit trying to figure out what everybody wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of started just doing what I wanted. Not started, just kind of got back and found myself and just played the songs, wrote the songs, played the music. And then since I've been hooked up with Nick J, working with him, he's produced. We've actually done 3 records, but we've only released the 2 so far. The I'm Not Finished and Pretty Good Heart. And Nick's just got a cool. He's got a cool understanding. Mm-hmm. Like they're kind of like. I'm not seasoned in music, in proper terminology and education, but he is. So I can like tell him like, man, I kind of got this cool like swampy idea with this, and then he'll throw a few things at us, and we just connect. And it's been real easy to make these records with him.
Dude, producers are such a big part of it, man.
They are, and when it works, it's beautiful, and when it doesn't, it's a freaking nightmare.
Train wreck, yeah.
Man, it's just. And with me, in my couple of records that I did not feel comfortable at all, I felt like we were already too committed. And I know it should be like, hey, let's just stop right here. Like, this isn't working in hindsight. But when you're young and you hire somebody, you trust that they're going to direct the train. And, and then you start, or at least myself, start second guessing like, well, who am I to say they're not right? Maybe their idea, maybe that's why I hired them, is to take my ideas and then make me go a direction that I might not be comfortable with, but it could be better.
The first full length album that I did with Tyler and the Tribe, we had like a rock star dude produced and engineered platinum albums and stuff like that, and that was our producer. And like that was kind of where I was at. It was like I was kind of afraid to say anything because it's like, man, I'm 24 years old, like,
yeah, this
do I know what I'm talking about? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
that was me. With my first one, I kind of wasn't grooving with. We were just so committed. We were a young band. It was the third record, though. The first one had no clue what we were doing, and I think you can absolutely tell that it's not that great of a record, but it's probably one of our more popular records, and it it garnered "Wear My Ring," which obviously gave me a foundation to build a career on. But it's like, didn't know any different, didn't know any better. We just did. And then the second one, we thought we found, a great producer who at the time did great for us. But then there was just a whole lot of sound and tonal things that I didn't like, but was trusting. And I think it was because he was more of a rock producer. And we were in a larger studio. We're down in San Antonio, and it was a good time. We were having a great experience, but 40 dadgum guitar tracks and overdubs, like just
too
like
much
stacking and using orange amps when we're all when we're using whatever Paul was using at the time, probably a Vox or some a Deluxe or something, and then we're running all this crap through all this computerized stuff that is still out of my knowledge zone. And then the third one, it's like, well, now we're doing one in Nashville, and none of this stuff that I'm saying is personal attack on these people. It was just our gel wasn't gelling. And so, but then the Nashville ones, we were flying out, and I was adamant about doing it with my band. So, and I don't even know where we got the money from because so broke and young, but each time flying out, I would fly out a band member. So it was me and the bass player spent the first week, and then we did use a session drummer, and then me and the guitar player went out, and it was just a week of guitars. Then I flew back out, and there was a lot of stuff I wasn't digging, but I was trusting. And it's easy to say that. I mean, if the record would have went skyrocketed and blown us into the stratosphere, I'm sure my opinion would be different. I think it would have to be. I'd like to think it wouldn't. I'd like to think that I'm mature enough to just be like, it still wasn't it was a fun environment, but it wasn't like we're all on the same page environment.
How old were you when Wear My Ring started to do what it did? Like, when did you release it, or when did y'all record that song?
I don't know, man, because weird evolution of that song was, I had a band. First of all, I played for about 6 months just by myself, acoustic. And my mother gave me the money. I did a 4 or 5 track acoustic record with Doc Watson, who was Tommy Alverson, Doc Watson, or Doc Wesson. Doc Wesson? Sorry, Doc.
Dude, I've done that before. I think back to some of my early stuff. I'm like, what's that guy's name? I cannot remember.
They used to have three fools on 3 stools, and that was their trio. They played all around the Metroplex and small towns around Maypearl at the Busy Bee and places. And they were fantastic. Because Tommy Alverson had that, I forget what his record was called, but it had Texas Woman on it, and Hill Country, but great cassette tape. And so I went to those guys because I was just getting kicked off. So then fast forward 6 or 8 months after that, I put a band together, and the band, we played gigs just off that acoustic record and me bugging people. And I bet we played for almost a year before the drummer at the time's mother loaned us the money. I think it's like $3,000. Astronomical amount of money at that time.
That was back in the 70s or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, 70s of 2003. And we recorded the Finally record, and Where My Ring was on there. Well, I mean, Ring was just another passing song in the set list. I mean,
it's not called Angel with a Bottle?
I mean, you can call it anything you want to as long as you're playing it.
I know you like it when people ask you to play that one.
I even put that on the live record in parentheses. I think I put Angel in the bottle.
That's good.
My dad, he still is like, where the Angel bottle song? That's good. I'm like, just stop. But we recorded it in 2003. And this is where it got weird because it was just another passing song. Hell, we were trying to get to Simple Man.
Yeah.
And our, probably our Back in Black and Metallica montage of, our little filler break. We're trying to get into those songs. But we started noticing Ring. And then I released it as a single with my first promoter ever, Debbie Green. And it really didn't do much on the radio. But started noticing at the gigs, people were wanting to hear it. But back then it was probably like the 4th or 5th song out.
What year?
Maybe 04, 05, something like that.
I remember, so when I first started, I listened to a lot of rock growing up and was a huge Nirvana fan. STP, those are like Incubus, those are probably my top 3 favorite bands in like high school. And then I remember somebody Ryan Beaver introduced me to Cross Canyon Ragweed when I was in high school.
Oh, Beav.
Yeah. And so, because Beaver's from here, We're
I didn't know that. See, I know Beaver from Austin. That's where we became buds.
Yeah. No, Beaver and I, his younger brother, Cody, did you ever meet him?
I didn't.
Cody's one of my best friends. I actually hung out with Cody today. But they're from Emory. We're all from Emory. Okay. And so we're here at Lake Fork right now for the listener.
I have an uncle that lives in Emory.
Yeah.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah. So my parents my dad owns a fishing lodge and has for about 30 years up here. And I can remember going from the fishing lodge, heading south towards Alba, which is between Emory and Quitman. If that makes any sense to you, it probably doesn't. But
speed trap.
I can remember, I can remember going south out of there and hearing this "Wear My Ring" song, and it was the first song that would be considered, Texas country, red dirt, whatever it is, would be considered that was I had ever heard outside of Cross Canyon Ragweed. Huh. And that was on the radio. I was like, this is a pretty cool song, and I was in high school at the time, and I'm thinking this is cool, So just a little side note there, but it was like this was my introduction to this scene or whatever, pretty much.
Strange thing for our band, I didn't even know there was a scene. Like I learned as we were going.
Sure,
we just liked to play music, and my get into it was Jason Boland had married a girl I grew up with, so when they would come to Stephenville to play, they would come in a few days early and stay at my house, and we would just party for the week. And I'd already been writing songs, but with no thought whatsoever on the planet of ever doing anything with them. I think I probably did him the thing that you and I probably roll our eyes about, at least on the inside. And I'm sorry, anybody, if that comes off rude, but when somebody's like, hey, I wrote this song, can I play it for you? And you're just like, but
at least yours turned out good.
I've become mature enough when people ask me that. I say mature. I'm not mature. I'm an immature.
Yeah, definitely.
That's why we're friends.
Yes.
But I've become comfortable enough to be like, you don't want my opinion. Let's just be pals. Because what if you need real feedback? If you wrote a song, or if you're thinking about writing songs and playing music, you need real feedback. I'm not going to give you real feedback. I'm not an unnice person.
Yeah, you're going to just be like, oh, it's awesome,
cool,
dude.
Man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that's why I was like, people have done it. I'm like, you don't want my feedback. You don't need my feedback. If you love it, that's good enough. Who gives a darn what I think? Who am I?
Yeah.
I don't want to critique someone else's art.
Yeah.
Because we both know, especially in the Texas scene, plenty of people that just want to be in it, want to be a part of it. Hey, look what I strung together some words and look at this. And then there's people who really believe in art and love what they do, and I'm not trying to be anybody's bubble buster. God knows I had plenty of them coming through it. So anyway, back to bowling. Sorry for the segue, but I don't think that I asked him to listen, and if I did, he just was such a scatterbrain then. He probably just talked me out of it or something. But he did say, "Hey man, call Heath out at City Limits, just book a damn gig, and see how it goes." And his famous quote, and this was, I mean, my God, this was 2002 or 3, which made me lie about when I did finally. I think we recorded it and released it in 05, but Smith Music picked it up right after that and re-released it, so it's technically 06. Anyway, Bolin was like, "We got the rest of our lives to be old and boring. May as well go for it." It was just like light bulb. Went,
yeah, makes sense.
And so I booked a gig at City Limits. The Agave next door, which I spent all my tuition there anyway.
Yeah, you went to Tarleton State, right?
Uh-huh.
My wife did too.
Cool.
Yeah.
She must be super smart.
She's actually one of the coolest people I've ever met. Yeah.
Second.
One of, yeah. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
And so I booked, I think I made $300, and I was like, hey, yeah, that was easy. And, of course, then all my friends came. It was just probably the last sold-out show I ever had.
So there's like 3 people there.
3.5,
yeah.
actually. So,
midget or paraplegic?
It was a small person. Small person.
Oh, sorry.
Since
2020, we got to be careful here.
You get banned. To land this long-winded plane of mine, I'm sorry.
No, it's good.
To answer your question, with all this, Wear My Ring, when we recorded it, was just another song on the list, on the track list. And I think that's what you asked me. I lost myself.
Yeah, I don't remember either.
It.
I was asking
you, I can get long-winded.
Yeah, no, it's good, though. That's what podcasts are for.
So you asked me when I realized Wear My Ring was doing something.
Yeah, when it was kind of taking off, yeah.
And I think we even had it out of the set for a while. Just
scary.
Yeah, just like...
You almost didn't make it.
Yeah, not knowing. And then... This is how stupid I was. How ridiculously stupid. So then when it started doing well, I felt like it was the dumbest song that I had of my maybe not dumb, but the weakest of the songs that I had of the X number we had to play in the set, plus we had to play Simple Man, of course, and our montage of annoyance and loud music. And so... I remember trying to almost like distance myself from it. When in hindsight, it's like, are you stupid? Yes, you are. And so I guess, I don't know. I don't know what, I don't have this like burning bush moment of like, that song, let's put it back in.
Yeah.
But we did, and it just kept going, and it kept going. It kept getting bigger, and shows got bigger and better, and everybody was, yelling for it. And then that gets annoying because it's like, well, what about these other songs that I really could tell you a whole backstory on? Yeah. Not the one I really don't remember. And but we embraced it, and we just moved it to the end of the set where it's lived for, I guess
forever, dude.
At least probably 10 years. It's been a show closer, and it will be till,
Yeah. Till you get to put 9 o'clock in start time.
Yeah, then
in your sets,
we'll open with it,
or in your contracts.
Yeah, we'll open with it and then close with it.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny thing too is, I did a new version of it on the last EP. I'm Not Finished, and we just kind of went more kind of honky tonk. Think Alabama, and golly, I got some hate messages.
Yeah,
it's terrible. This sucks. And of course, I don't have the wherewithal to just ignore that. I'm like, no, it's not. It's actually really good. You just prefer the other one, and that's okay. But so many people be like, yeah, man, you're right.
Yeah,
like, exactly.
No, we get that stuff all the time.
All the time on YouTube, man. Like if somebody, because the anonymity of the internet is a terrible thing.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
People don't have enough responsibility to deal with it.
I wonder what the world would do if, the government's taking everything anyway. What if they just shut down the internet for a month?
Let's do it.
I think that'd be amazing.
I think it would also
where everybody
awesome.
has to get back to communicating and being civil and human.
Yeah.
Be nice to each other. It's crazy how like somebody will be like, I can't believe you did that, to that deer or whatever. And then you say, well, man, actually, we feed our family that food or whatever. And like, oh, yeah, man, good point. It's like, oh, I thought you were Mr. Big Bad Guy with your chest out, Like,
it's weird how many people think that when they're commenting online to you that you're just like this person that doesn't see it and will never respond to it.
They say that guy missed that deer. It's like, oh, no,
I'm like, that guy's
guy.
me.
Yeah.
I'm the guy that owns this. Nobody else works here. Like it's not a company.
Well, and some things you want to be like, oh, I've used this before. Like, oh, my bad. This isn't the Q&A discussion board. This was me putting my opinion. Wasn't really asking for feedback. This is just what happened. But that's why I'm just so. It's like, you have to do it. I have to do it. You guys have to do it. But you got to play the stupid social media game, and I hate it. I just want to listen to the music. Listen to the damn music. If you like it, cool. If you don't listen to it. That's unfortunate because, if you come see us live, we're pretty fun. We have a good time. We don't get all drunked up and act fools, which there's always a place for that. I'm not knocking that side either.
Yeah, but when musicians do that, they tend to get more lame. They think they're cool, but like the people watching them are like, this guy is just up there stumbling around.
That's me, but I'm such a weirdo because I remember like seeing Gary Stewart when I was in high school, and I was like, that's cool. And
dude,
I got sloshed, but then when I do it, then you just get like, he was so drunk, I need my money back. Like, what? I thought this was cool.
I played a show with Gary Stewart one time. We opened for him in the first band that I ever toured in at all. I was the guitar player and harmony guy, so I wasn't like the main dude, or whatever. Well,
you weren't the lightning rod.
Yeah, we branded ourselves as punk country, and so we played kind of country, but it fit into the scene, except for that everywhere we went, we destroyed things, and so we literally opened for Gary Stewart. We destroyed a guitar we had a trash can, a metal trash can. We threw Black Cats in at the very beginning of the show on stage. And then we lit them and threw it in there and all walked off and just 100 Black Cats went, whatever. Then at the end of the show, our fiddle player got up on the shoulders of our lead singer and soloed at the end. We're just going nuts. I mean, there's 40 people there, whatever. And then the singer grabs a guitar and goes, smash this. And I said, no, I'm not smashing your guitar. We don't have money. Right. And so he just walks over and just starts destroying this guitar. And he goes, take your shirt off. And I was like, okay, whatever, back then I was in decent shape, so I ripped my shirt off and solo out or whatever. And then we just are whatever. We freaking just killed this in front of 40 people, throw my guitar down, let it feed back, and walk off the stage. Bust out the back doors, and there's Gary Stewart, and I'm just freaking sweating so hard, just no shirt on, no guitar. They're like, hey fellas, and they just started laughing. Dude. Awesome. It was good. That was the only time we ever played with Gary Stewart. So,
these guys, those guys.
Yeah. So, Wear My Ring is then you've built a career on it, basically.
100%.
Yeah, and so. How do you feel does it still rank down there? Because I've heard Dave Grohl talk a lot about certain songs that he's written. He talks about them. He's like, you got to, if you write a song, you better be prepared to play it for the rest of your life. And he has kind of, I think, hit the same thing where he's written some songs that he wasn't super proud of after he had to play them a lot, but people like them a lot. Mm-hmm. And then he's kind of come full circle to where man, I really appreciate the fact that I had the chance to write a song that I've been able to build a career on, even though it may not be my best song ever. Do you feel that way kind of with that song, or are you still just kind of put out by it?
No, I am 100% have learned to love it and very much appreciate and respect what it's meant to other people. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been everything from you seen in high school. And you didn't say this, but some people, that was our party anthem. Mm-hmm. Other people I've talked to, man, that got me through a divorce, or that got me through a breakup. And it's man, I want everybody to own it their own. And it's been huge. My career is kind of in the middle, mediocre anyway, so I can't imagine how terrible it would be without the song.
Yeah.
But no, I'm definitely a fan of that. And any song, I've been fortunate to have a few where they are meaningful to people. Mm-hmm. And that I always hold that very dear.
Yeah.
It just took me, I honestly can look back and think I was just trying to be too cool for school. Mm-hmm. You had bands like Ragweed that had Carney Man, but at this time they were like, we don't play that anymore. Don't request that. Which is fair because I was acting exactly, that works for them. That's cool. And I like that. I like that they're kind of no, we don't. We're trying to be a little more serious, and I can honestly say in hindsight, I'm sure that's where that kind of gravitated from for me.
Yeah.
Instead of having my own opinion and embracing it, it was trying to be cooler than I was, or, well, that's working for that band, so we should try that, which everybody does to a degree. I mean,
sure.
Shoot, when I first started, there wasn't a soul in this scene that played in-ears. Then one band got on in-ears. Then well, we should get on in-ears. Well, we should get on in-ears too. Well, guess what? We should get a tour manager. We should get one too. Hey, they had a sound guy. We need a sound guy.
Yeah.
Hey,
Dude, it's funny.
They had lights. Well,
there was
God, damn it, we gotta have lights.
Did you ever I got approached by like a ears broker or something. It was the weirdest thing ever. They were like trying to sell me in-ear monitors, or all of us, but I was so confused because it was like, so you don't actually work for the in-ears company that you're trying to sell me on. It was the weirdest thing. They're like, no, we help out this band, this band, this band.
Come look in the back of my van.
I don't understand. And they tried to hook us up, and I was like, that's way too expensive. We can't do that. No.
Where I was lucky in that regard was then I hired a tour manager that just sent me down. He's like, you don't need all this crap, dude. So we started minimizing. I stayed on ears even when the band went back to wedges, to save money. But that's because I'm deaf.
Yeah.
I mean, it was for the safety of the rest of the band for me to stay on ears because my monitors would have had to be so incredibly loud. But
are you deaf because of music?
Probably the most, but growing up hunting, never ear protection.
Because you're a veteran too, right?
Yeah, and in those tanks, I never put an earplug in.
Yeah. What'd you do in the
tanker?
Yeah, it's what you were. So Army. Yeah.
I was a 19 kilo at Fort Stewart, Georgia, for 3 years.
Is that where Sean is? Where's Sean at? Benning, Fort Benning.
Gotcha.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, I was on the other side of the state.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're too cool, man. You're 19, 20, invincible. I'm not climbing up on. I'm going to jump up on it. I'm not climbing off. I'm jumping off. Now I had 4 back surgeries, and so it's like, all right, maybe I should have listened.
So, did you see any overseas action or anything?
I did not.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate enough to be there in peacetime.
Yeah. 4 years in and out?
No, 3. I went into 95 and got out in 98.
Gotcha.
So, I was very fortunate. I was in between Desert Storm and, I guess,
Iraq War. Yeah, Iraq War. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. So
one of my high school best friends, he actually, so if you came in on 154, that highway's named after him. He was an Army Ranger and lost his life in service over there in the Iraq War. So, yeah, that's Tanner Stone Higgins Highway out there. And then, partially the reason partially the reason my son is named Stone is because of him. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. So
that's a good tip of the heart and hat.
Yeah.
To your buddy.
It did a lot of things. We wanted an outdoor name, of course. And it's my buddy's middle name, and it was her maiden name. So I was like,
right on.
This is meant to be.
There you go.
Yeah. But thanks for the service, man.
Yeah.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So then from you said 98 was when you got out?
Yeah.
So
I saved up some leave time. I got out right in January of 98.
Okay. And then you went to Tarleton State?
I did. I went to Tarleton for 1 year. Oh, when I got out, it was kind of like, now what?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really know what the world I was going to do when I got out of high school. And now it's just like I got out of high school all over again, and I still don't know what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. And so I went to the fire academy for that first semester of school, if you will, because I got out in January. So that first January through May, I went to a fire academy, and I started testing to be a fireman. And just kept doing well, but the hierarchy I didn't give it long enough. I mean, I only tested for like 3 months. But in that time, I'd met some guys and girls who went to Tarleton who would come home on the weekends, and I was working for one of them's brother-in-law, and we were roping together and running the highways and
rodeo stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Dang,
you did it all, man.
Renaissance. You're the most interesting man in the world,
in the entire world.
Your beard kind of looks like that guy's beard.
Yeah, his looks like mine. It does.
That's what I meant. Yeah. Did you get tats in the service, or
I got one in the service, but it's not there anymore. It's covered up now.
Was it a Nazi?
Yes,
swastika.
100%.
Yeah,
it's actually a mural of Hitler himself. No, it's actually better than that. It was a sun. Wait, did I get? Yeah, it was a sun with a goatee on it. Yes, sir. You heard me correctly, world.
That's awesome.
So
No eyes, just the goatee.
no, it had eyes. It had
okay.
like
Gotcha.
I mean, if you looked at it right, it kind of looked like the Kellogg's son, but it was cooler.
Was it real happy, but then kind of cool?
Yeah, it had a goatee on it. It's just like, what are you doing with your life? And better than that, I got it somewhere outside of Hinesville, Georgia, which is about the size of Gantis or Emory. And the guy had an old house on his property. He lived in a trailer behind it, but the old house, I'm not BSing, had a piece of plywood. It said tattoos here. And I was sitting on his motorcycle inside of this old house where he was tatting me.
You know,
go for it, man.
That sounds so unique, but I almost feel like that happens in most 1,500, because there's one of those places there outside Sulphur Springs.
Yeah, the one with the helicopter.
Highwayman.
It's got the helicopter 18-wheeler.
Yeah.
Yes. I did that without batting an eye. Like, yes, sir, please. Use your needles. And so anyway, I met those boys and girls from Tarleton. And since I was young, and it was just my buddy Duran, it was his brother-in-law. So Royce and those guys were, he was married. And so they would come home from Tarleton. Heck, we'd go to the bars, go to Arlington. I got to be friends. I'd go down to Stephenville, and I'm like, this is the life down here, Daddy. This is where I need to be. So I went to Tarleton for 98, 99, was making some poor decisions and doing some drugs and being an idiot. I'm like, man, I'm gonna mess up my GI Bill, or I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna waste all this time, and I'm gonna end up not making good grades, and I'm just getting high all the time. And it's like probably not good. So then I went back to Maypearl, and I was just gonna go for the summertime, dry out and clean up and go back, and that lasted 3 years. I had to do some more drugs, which is terrible. I'm not advocating that, children. Please don't ever do that. I'm just trying to be honest to tell you my stupidity and mistakes. And got right with God, man, and turned around and went back to Tarleton in January of 2002 and graduated in December of 2004.
What did you graduate with? Music degree, obviously,
everything.
right?
No, everything. Smartest kid on campus.
Yeah.
It was a different
Summa
degree.
cum laude.
No, that's funny. My dad was like, I didn't hear them say that summa cum laude after your name. I'm like, they forgot.
Yeah.
I left my sash at home. No, I got a Bachelor of Science in Public Relations with Business Communications.
Cool. Yeah.
So
you're built for podcasting.
yes,
Yeah.
I own podcasts.
You are a podcast.
Yes.
So all the rest of the tats came after you became a powerful musician?
Man, it was a slow...
Because they're cool is why I'm asking.
It was a slow evolution, to be honest with you.
I would never get one. I just never would.
Fair enough.
But I think that they're cool.
Thank you.
I think I like the color.
I did, I had that awesome Sun. I didn't even tell you about my first one I got in high school.
Oh.
Which it's gone too. It's covered also. But
It's Chinese.
Nope. It was amazing. Oh, I've got those.
Yeah.
Right there.
Awesome.
And I was told they say family and love, but I mean, who knows?
Yeah, it probably does.
It's probably,
Did a Chinese person do it?
I'm not going to repeat what I think it probably says. No, the other one, my first one, was a gecko lizard. But he was standing up on his back 2 feet in a fireman's outfit because I was going to be a fireman.
In high school, you felt like you wanted to be a fireman.
I had 2 uncles that were firemen, great career. And I have lots of friends who are lots. I had 2 other friends who are firemen, and it's a terrific career. And I just kind of thought, man, I want to kind of carry on that deal. And my uncles did, and it seems to be working for them. And heck, those guys only work a third of the year.
Yeah, I know,
Have a
man.
good living.
Dude,
I could kind of do what I want.
I know. I've got 2. Actually, in that cover band I play in, 2 of those guys are firemen. So, unfortunately, they don't work for the same department. So scheduling is still tough. But
I bet so.
But we don't. We don't need them.
There you go.
Bass player. You know what I mean? Seriously, do you need that guy? No.
White stripes.
The Doors. I mean, come on.
White stripes.
Yeah.
Doors. Yeah. But the tattoos, I don't know. They just kind of started growing. But then once you get past a point, it's kind of like you just get a wild hair and be like, oh, I'm going to go get some meat today.
Yeah.
But
which one means the most to you?
I don't know. Either the scripture. Well, not either. This is going to sound terrible out of context.
Yeah.
Obviously, my children's name.
Uh-huh.
But then scripture.
What's the scripture say?
I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I wrote
Philippians.
that. Yeah.
Yeah,
I wrote that.
you wrote that in Philippians.
Yes.
To the Philippians,
Yes,
actually.
I sent
Yes.
it to the Philippians and asked them if they could put it in 4:13.
Yes.
They said yes.
That's good. That's good.
They obliged.
Did you get that after you cleaned up? Is that like a...
No, it wasn't like a testament. I mean, my making bad decisions with narcotics was a complete choice. And one day I just woke up like, man, my mom knew what I've been doing for the last 3 or 4 years. It'd break her heart. And I just quit.
Yeah.
It was done.
Moms hold us accountable, don't they?
Absolutely. And I just, and it went from being fun and cutting up and partying to some weeks a daily use, and then maybe not for a few weeks, but it was becoming too much of a regular occurrence. Mm-hmm. And then people were starting to make it, and people were starting to get arrested around me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was turning from like every story you've ever heard about drugs, like it becomes unfun. Mm-hmm. And it's just like, ugh, gross. Yeah. What are you doing,
dude? When I the first band I toured in, like when I first got in there was like nobody. I mean, everybody. The lead singer is kind of he did pills quite a bit, but like he hated the smell of pot. Well, then next thing I know, like we got this fiddle player in the band, and like, dude, they're bringing like gallon bags of pot, and like one night they were jacking around in the hotel room in Lubbock. We were on the second floor. And we'd played the show, gotten bags, probably 1 o'clock in the morning. And our drummer and our singer start kind of wrestling around, just having fun,
That's how it goes.
Dude, and they like are banging around on the floor, Yeah, exactly right, man. And so, but the thing is, I had already gone to sleep. They banged around, and then I was like, all right, this is dumb, I'm just going to sleep. Go to sleep, literally wake up to the sound of the knock and Lubbock, police or whatever. And when I wake up, I can't see across the room. There's so much smoke in the room. Oh. And I was like, this is a bad deal right here. Good, and I had just had my first kid. And I was like, when I started thinking about it on the way home, and I was like, it's just not worth it, man.
It's not, man. And mine was all pre-music, thank goodness. And so it wasn't even a factor. And obviously, there's been offers come up over. I mean, I've been doing this 17 years. But it's like I have no desire. I mean, you could put anything you want on the table, and I'm like, that's funny.
Yeah. Been there, done that.
What do you want me to do? I'm too old.
Yeah.
I'm not staying up all night. Have you lost your mind?
Yeah.
The only drugs I like now are Advil PM, ZQL.
Yeah, it's got to have some PM-ness in it, doesn't it?
Right, it does.
So as a guy who's done heavier stuff, I'd never ventured off in that world, but
good. There's nothing. Yeah, there's no light at the end of that tunnel.
I'm pretty freedom oriented when it comes to things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And the jurisdictions against marijuana, I kind of over it.
Me too.
But
I don't smoke, but I am pro.
I don't either.
I am pro marijuana.
Yeah, and I'm like,
silly.
Why not just stop locking people up for it? But all politics aside, what do you think about the whole? What do they call it? Gateway drug idea.
I don't know, man, because I didn't smoke weed until I was doing other stuff.
Oh, okay.
I mean, no, in high school I'd smoke a little bit here and there, and then it just never. It's kind of like now. I mean, where can you not find marijuana?
Oh yeah, it's like why is it illegal? It's stupid. So you know what I mean? Like it's everywhere.
I don't have a desire, but I did during all that time. I was a pretty heavy smoker, but it started from like trying to come down from the weekend party, and then it was like I kind of like this and I can function, and it's just nothing. And any kids listening, I'm not bragging or trying to highlight any of this. It's all trash, but through technology and lots of research, there is some with THC. There is some very beneficial things, especially for people with chronic pain. But no, I'm talking about stuff that will never be legal, and cocaine and methamphetamines. And it's like that's just trash. It's trash and doesn't do good for anybody. And like I say, when I quit, or even when I was messing with it, and this is not glorifying it in the least, but it was made by some old timers that took a week or so to manufacture this stuff, and we just knew them, and we just knew what was going on. And then next thing you know, within the couple of years, then it's like everybody's making it in their bathtub, and people got sores, and people are getting divorced, and a friend of mine's getting arrested because he's asleep in his truck in the middle of downtown. It's like, what? I'm out, guys. Shit. Yeah. Nobody knew I was doing this. Like, y'all blowing the cover. This isn't fun. So.
Where we're from, I don't know if it still is, but when I was, growing up and even past when I left here, like Rains County was the meth capital of Texas. I don't know if it still is.
Man, that stuff just went like, and it had always been around. It always has been, but not like it got. And then it just swarmed, kind of like the opioid epidemic.
Yeah.
It's just like blanketed our country, and it's not good, man.
Yeah.
Not good at all.
People are bored, man. They need to find something better to do, really.
It's like on one weird ideological hand of mine in my messed up brain, I think that if I was going to mess with that, thank God I did then when it was like made with less under-the-counter chemicals, where it just kind of kept you up, gave you juice. It was kind of like what everybody's justifying Adderall. It did that. And Adderall's the exact same thing. It's just made by manufacturers making billions off of it. It's no different. I've done them both. But then it started changing. The internet was getting more broad. Dial-up was going away. Wireless was becoming, so more people, smartphones were beginning to come out. And these recipes were being found. There were people just from where I was from getting arrested because they went to Walmart and bought 8 cases of double D batteries. Or D batteries. It's like, all right, guys, I'm gone. Because I'm predominantly a rule follower, and I just don't want to be in. I never liked being in trouble, and so I'm like, I'm out. Like, this isn't cool or fun anymore. So it's all trash. Not people doing it. Bless their hearts. Some just have issues and problems.
I've had family, that's dealt with it for a long time and seem to be over it. But that's the thing, is you just don't know. Sometimes you don't know what's going on behind the
It's one of those things
doors.
where, like, we were talking about COVID before we got on, which, the world's talking about COVID, so, I don't want to just spend another 30 minutes on that. But it's like you never know who it's going to affect in a bad way. And that's the same way with drugs and stuff like that. So why not just protect yourself from it and not give yourself the opportunity to have that addiction?
I thank God every day. Like, I have an addiction to ice cream. And,
cookie two-step. That is the best.
Don't put that evil on me.
Oh man.
And then,
well, I'll let you what I did. My wife and baby were distracting me yesterday, or 2 days ago. I had a quarter of a pint left, and I was going to save it. And
How do you even have a quarter of a pint left?
Just
a pint is a one-setting
Dude, he's
situation.
got pretty good food discipline.
I don't.
Sometimes.
Like, he's like...
I left a bit.
He called me on the way over here and was like, I was thinking about stopping at Taco Bell. Have you eaten yet? Do you want some Taco Bell? Like, if I didn't get Taco Bell, he wasn't going to get it because he doesn't want... Like, he just wants to make sure that we're on the same diet plan here, Like,
see, and I'm the opposite because all the guys in my band are skinny minis, and they're all in their 20s and can eat like 12-year-olds, and I'm eat
whatever
a couple
they
drinks. I'm like, me too, man. I'll take what he's having.
That's what's funny is, like, I'll get down like in the mid 190s for elk season.
I remember those numbers.
Yeah, I know, right? And then, like, right now I'm probably sitting about 205, and I got to like 235 last spring when we had our kid, and it's like, let me just lose a clean 40 pounds this summer and get back every year. Sooner or later I'm not going to be able to do it, right?
Try being 5'10" and being 255. It's like, where is it? What happened?
Okay, so speaking of this, I got a story. This is from when you and I played together one night up in Oklahoma City at Worm and Dog.
I remember that show.
Okay, yeah. So we actually may have, I don't know.
I think we
played
there a few times.
But I
the
think this
American
was the
flag
first
pants
one.
is the
Yeah.
that I remember the most.
That was my thing back then.
Staple.
Had to get people to understand,
what
they needed to watch. They needed to watch us, So anyway, Colton, our bass player, he's a super good guy. Like, talk to anybody, Sometimes that kind of gets you where you're sticking your foot in your mouth, And so we're sitting there. He comes up to me. at the end of the night, you had been at the merch booth. We had been right beside you at our merch booth talking and hanging out a little bit. At the end of the night, he comes up to me. He goes, dude, I think I just made Bart really mad, man. And I'm like,
I don't think that's possible.
I know, I was thinking the same thing, but I was like, what'd you do, dude? He was so worried. He's really worries about stuff.
Because he's a sweet person.
He is. And he goes, man, Bart came up to me and he was like rubbing his chest and stuff and like doing all this funny stuff, you know? And I just said, chubby. Because he was, I think you get it, you know? And then he thought, oh, crap, he thinks I just called him chubby, you know? So, a little man love turned into like he was worried that you hated him, you know? So
That's awesome.
Yeah. But those are some good times. That place is closed down, right?
I think I've heard that.
Yeah, I'm sad. I loved playing there, man. So I didn't actually know that you were a hunter until like recently.
Oh, yeah. See, I don't like to tell everybody I'm the greatest hunter that's ever been born.
I don't either.
You don't like to tell them that I am?
No, I don't.
It's kind of a funny thing for me because I grew up hunting. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Maypearl.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Yep.
And very fortunate enough to grow up with a dad who was deer hunter, and we hunted in Comstock from the time I was, I think, 6 or 7 till I was 10 or 11, till I was just old enough to where I was going to get to start kind of going out on ridge lines and walking on my own, and that's when he quit. That's when he
quit deer hunting?
He kind of started backing up. Well, his company started getting really busy. And he kind of, he'll tell you a story. He just kind of, when he was 15 to probably 30, eat, sleep, breathe, hunt, drywalling and hunting. Mm-hmm. And that's all he did. Back then, though, it was a lot because to put food on the table and fill the freezer up. Mm-hmm. He never shot a doe, and he always shot bucks, but, it was kind of a split thing. I want to get a big buck, but we need meat, too. Mm-hmm. So, and then, as his business got busier and things were getting a little better, the necessity for it wasn't as strong, but he still loved hunting. Mm-hmm. And I think just with age, he just kind of outgrew his desire for it. He just found other things to do. Mm-hmm. My dad's deal was, he just worked so much that I think it kind of became unpractical to spend, $1,000 back then when they were only $1,000 per gun, which was a lot back then, especially for a family of, he's a 9th grade dropout. Mm-hmm. And so all he did was work. And, he made millions in the drywall industry. But he worked, I bet the man worked 70 hours a week for 25 years. Mm. So I think it got to where when his business started doing well, we're not turning down work. Well, I don't need to pay $1,000 a gun if I'm only going to get to go one weekend. Mm-hmm. Because if we got work, we're staying here and working. That was kind of that thing. Yeah. And those kids, we had sports, and there was my sister, my little brother, and I. So I just think it kind of more got in the way as we got a little older, even though he loved taking us hunting. Mm-hmm. So that's the only reason it kind of slowed down then. It was just funny. I still laugh at it. I'm like, yeah, right about the time I got the age to really learn and not just tag along with you and mess up all your hunts is when you kind of started slowing down. But we still could we would go on occasional hunts, we just didn't, he had a deer lease in Ozona there for a while. But again, Comstock, Ozona, that's like, 8 and 10 hours, I think, maybe 6 and 8, whatever. But long drive from Maypearl. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's a commitment. And, then getting home late on Sunday, and then, he's up at 5 to go to work the next Monday. So I think a lot of that was just kind of like, a big ugh factor. Mm-hmm. But then through business, he got some hunts. I remember we went to Junction one time, really nice place. But anyway, I love hunting. Well, when I started playing music, and I take that back because when I was at Tarleton, they were on a lease out in Colorado City. But even then, he was just like, well, Kaylee, which was my firstborn niece. She's like, well, Kaylee likes to hunt, and so I want to take her out there, and she shoots something. Because he'll be like, man, I passed up 3 10-points just because I didn't want to clean the damn thing. Mm-hmm. And I got to go out there with him a couple times. But then by the time I graduated from college, Brooke and I were dating. I was playing gigs, 2 or 3 times a week. And I had a regular job. I had a 9-to-5 working for a construction company, a home builder. So going hunting it wasn't on the radar because there was no time. Friday, Saturday, we were playing gigs, and I did that for the better part of 15 years anyway. I mean, the last 2 years is probably the most time I've taken off. When towns started getting older, I'm like, man, I'm just not rat racing anymore. I'm not missing anything.
Mm-hmm.
And so hunting just wasn't on my radar because we just always had gigs.
Mm-hmm.
And then out of nowhere this year, I go on 3 whitetail hunts, an elk hunt. I'm going for a first duck hunt next month.
First ever?
First ever.
Really?
Yeah. My wife's like, I don't know how I feel about this. I'm like, well,
dude, that's what we grew up doing around here, man, because we got the lakes, you know.
Well, I've never duck hunted, ever. My dad we always dove hunt. Oh, I went on a dove hunt, too, this year. But it's also cool for me because Towns is 9, and I took him on his first dove hunt.
Mm-hmm.
My wife was pissed because he shot a bird, but it wasn't a dove. He shot some varmints too, and she was just like, "What?" Because they were just. My wife is mega hippie.
Yeah,
but it's interesting. She's not pro and not negative hunter. She just don't hunt a feeder, and I don't care what you do. That's her.
Really?
Okay. Well, what's her mentality on the feeder thing? This is interesting.
I remind you, she is pure hippie to the soul.
Yeah.
And I'm quoting her, so don't throw spears at me.
No. I mean, it's interesting.
Hers is, so you feed these little babies all year long, and they walk in to get dinner, and you blow their heads off. I'm like, I wouldn't say to shoot them in the head.
Not head shooting them, you know?
That's my reply. I'm like, you don't shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
What, are you crazy?
It's just kind of interesting to me because we were actually talking about this earlier today, but like there's a big pushback on baiting deer from a lot of other states, whether that's pro or anti-hunting. And it's kind of interesting because it's so far out of my realm to think that it's not okay to bait deer.
Same here.
It's hard for me to understand where people are at on that. And
I'm kind of like, I think I'm 50-50.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you now that we're talking about because I haven't really put a lot of thought in it. But where I grew up hunting in Comstock, it was such an adventurous hunt.
Yeah.
Like that terrain, that terrain. I'll show you some pictures from one because I was fortunate to go down there this last weekend. After, I mean, I probably haven't been there since I was 10 or 11,
cool.
and I'm 44, so it was neat. And I'm telling your listeners, as I was telling you guys, coincidentally, the ranch I got to hunt on was next door to the ranch that I grew up hunting on, which was neat. We grew up hunting on a 14,000-acre ranch, and for whatever reason, by the grace of the universe, I got to hunt on a 27,000-acre ranch. We didn't even cover a third of it in our time out there. But so we would hunt. There were very few feeders on this because the terrain was just so rough. Mm-hmm. There was a couple tripod stands and a couple blinds, but my father and I, we never sat in one. Mm-hmm. It was walking ridge lines and canyon lines and rattling and scouting, I guess, if you to put a term on it. So that was how I learned to hunt. We'd ride a 4-wheeler to whatever section we were hunting, which was coordinated through the other hunters, so no one would step on each other. And then we would just walk. And, I'd have a backpack on because El Fatty had to have snacks.
Dude, I got to have Pop-Tarts, man.
And so, it was getting up dark and, eating, putting on your, I think I had a snowsuit, but basically, your hunting clothes and warm stuff and eating some cereal and hauling butt on the 4-wheeler to whatever backside of the canyon we were going to and then getting off because my dad wanted to be in X spot when the sun comes up. And then we would walk and we'd, set my watch and I would be with him. But then once the sun came up, and I think it was more or less my dad just being like, go away. You're hitting rocks. You're not quiet. And so I could go one direction and he would go different and we'd meet back at the 4-wheeler. But this was where Soto cactus were taller than me. So he would put flagging tape and, take whatever the stick is in the Soto cactus and put it on the 4-wheeler so you could find it pretty easy because you get lost real quick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Huge. And I was 9, 10, and 11.
How are y'all? So nowadays we use OnX, on our phones. It's just maps and stuff like. And I'm assuming we're not that far apart in age. And I was doing the same kind of stuff, when I was 9 or 10. Mm-hmm. How are y'all figuring out like where your section was and how to navigate?
They had a map. They had a map of the ranch. So the rancher had a topo map made of the ranch. So every hunter had it, and I doubt they knew the real topography of it, my dad, but they knew the sections and all right, you guys are going to go. But again, 14,000 acres. You're going a mile over there. I'll go a mile over here. Mm-hmm. We'll never see each other.
Leave each other a buffer too. That way.
Yeah. And so it was just that big. But then again, a dad and his kid walking a canyon and a ridge line. He'd take 2 hours, and you're not traversing that much territory. But with binos, you're seeing so much. So walking, being what I just for dumb calls nomadic type hunting, like you would with your mule deer hunting.
Yeah,
that's how I grew up hunting whitetail. So then when we went to Ozona, I remember a couple times he put me in a stand, and it was boring for a kid. Bored already. And then so all that, and then we went that junction hunt. That was I'm so trashy. That's where I burnt myself with a cigarette to see if I could tough it out getting a tattoo. Because I hocked a pack of my dad, so I was 17 or 18. But I had an uncle when I was a kid. I was like, did that hurt? I pointed at his tattoo, and he grabbed my arm, and he acted like he was going to put his cigarette out on it. He's like, yes, it hurt. It hurt like that would have hurt. So I'm sitting there at 17, not an idiot, but I guess I am. And I lit that cigarette and just put it out on my hand. You can still see the scar right there. And I'm like, oh, God. Okay, I can take that. I can get a tattoo. Yeah, I'm real smart.
Yeah.
So
then you got a gecko.
And son.
So that was it. And so then when we got older, my wife was in my head a little bit, and I went to that Colorado City place, and I passed on 2 bucks, just kind of the same thing. I don't think they were wall hangers, but it was just like I'm shooting them out of the feeder, like,
Yeah.
It wasn't fun for me personally. I'm
Yeah,
not
sure.
judging anybody else. Because, I mean, if I had a bow, I'd probably, I mean, if I saw the right one, I'd probably do whatever needed to be done to own it. But I don't know. But I also don't have, again, that was, even the Colorado City was probably 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. Mm-hmm. But after getting this year and being around more guys that hunt, and what happened was last November, I got to take my oldest towns on some friends of mine that own Mesquite Creek Outfitters in Georgetown. They also have an organization called Veteran Outdoors, and I do a lot of work with them. They're really good friends of mine. They're great people. Very pro-hunter, pro-gun, pro-education. Awesome dudes. And they invited me up for a clean-out hunt, is what they call it. So it was on the DPS in Pflugerville, the DPS driving facility. Because at night they'll try to, to teach officers how to pull over or speed chases, but deer get in that facility and cause havoc. So, and it was a great, perfect hunt, first hunt for my son too, because it was all father and son and a game warden in each blind. And I think that's when it started re-clicking for me, because Towns didn't even get to pull the trigger, but he got to sit there with the 223. He got to bino and see a couple small deer. He had got to see one through a scope. But the game warden, it was too small. The game warden had to make the call. And so we out there, and he just, like, I don't know, just seeing that as a dad was like, man, I bet that's how my dad was. Like, this is really cool. And then the way Towns just wouldn't shut up about it. So that's cool. We ended up not going home that night, which we were supposed to just go for the evening. It's about less than an hour from our house. And so we ended up spending the night with one of the guys at his house and going back out there for the morning hunt. And we were back out there at 5, and Towns was just, hot damn, let's get it. And same thing. And so that's kind of, I think, when it clicked with me. They're like, man, I forgot how much I love hunting. Yeah. And then seeing him, because even on the way out there, I stopped by Academy and I bought like a little $10 lock blade knife. Bought him some really cheap Bushnell binos. Just setting the boy up.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we didn't have to take rifles or ammo or anything. Everything was just waiting on us.
That's cool.
So then from that point, he got a big interest in guns. So we've been going home to Maypearl during all this COVID. And my dad, I've got a 270, a 7 mag. My dad's got an AR, and we got 2 22s and some singles. Like, we just go down the pasture and just shoot. And I got all 3 of my boys, the 7-year-olds in Towns, all shooting, and they love it.
It's cool, man.
My drummer's dad has a range in Johnson City, and so when I was getting ready for that elk hunt, I took my 300 Win Mag out there to zero it and get comfortable with it. I mean, I hadn't shot in 10 years. I'm going on a trip of a lifetime. I want to put in some work and be ready. So we'd go out there, and I'd put, 10, 20 rounds down range, and then he would let the boys shoot some 22 rifles. And the boys got, all 3 of them got to where, 50 yards, they were just tagging the target left and right. And it was just kind of like beating my chest. Like, hell yeah. I like this.
It's cool. So where was the elk hunt?
McCall, Idaho, which is 2 hours north of Boise.
Nice.
So you shot a pretty good elk. Like, wasn't no slouch at all, man.
No, man. I didn't shoot him. I stabbed him. Crawled up and stabbed him right in the start.
Yep. With your finger?
No, I had a knife.
Okay.
Well, it was actually a stone I'd chiseled and
the
filed
flint
down.
rock or whatever. Yeah.
Now, shout out to Veteran Outdoors again. Invited me to this elk hunt in McCall, Idaho, and we flew up. So, I want to take it really serious. And shout out to Cryptek Gear for sending us just some amazing gear. Because then it's like, what do I need to go on an elk hunt? I don't own anything camouflage. Oh, wait, I bought a camouflage T-shirt for my dove hunt.
Flannels. You got plenty of flannels.
Yeah, I got flannels. Some real bright red ones. And so, so Cryptek took care of us there, and Veteran Outdoors just really gifted some great gear, some Leopold nice binos, and just really took care of us. So I got borrowed a rifle from a buddy. Well, I didn't want to go up there. I was going to take my dad's .6. I didn't really want to go up with anything less than a cannon. But a buddy that's a competition shooter that lived in Austin has a 300 Win Mag, so he's like, take this thing. I'm like, done.
Yeah.
And so I really, man, as nerdy as this may make me sound, I bet I dry fired that thing 200 times, just getting used to the trigger pull and getting comfortable and prone and kneeling and just ready for any variable. So I'm like, if I don't want to miss the damn thing. Like, if I don't see an elk, that's okay. But if I see one, I don't want to be the factor that we don't come home with a cooler full.
Yeah.
And so then, like I said, I went to Daniel's father's range in Johnson City, and I probably ended up putting 50 or 60 live rounds between 300 yards, mostly, and just different shooting positions. Because I'm like, man, let's nerd out, bro. I don't hunt, I don't shoot, but I'm fixing to, and I don't want to miss. And man, that morning we got up that first morning, and we were up on the mountain. We were about 8,000 feet. One guy's here watching this mountainside, so me and the guide go around and walk in the perimeter. And Cody texts back. He's like, I got some cows I've got on glass. So me and the guide, his name's Ed, came back to this side of this mountain because he's going to bugle, see if there's any bulls with them. So we spread out. I'm probably 300 yards down. He's bugling, he's calling, and I'm glassing over here. I mean, as far as the eye can see to all the way back to you. And I'm on one mountain, and it's a big dip down, and there's the other one. And so from the other side of that one, you just hear this faint answer. And I'm like, okay, was that me breathing?
My nose whistle sometimes. It sounds like that.
Was that my nose hairs or what? What's going on? And so, and I've got every dadgum movie in my head. Like, side note, same thing. We were laughing. I was laughing at myself at Comstock. I said, I've always just imagined like a buck, and I imagine this bull just walking to the crest of the mountain, just standing there all majestic like and beautiful with no brush around it, where you can just take the shot or just paint a picture of it. And but the second time it bugled, the guide came back to me, and I was like, yeah, you can hear him. So he started walking this bull in. I mean, I'm talking, guys, as the crow flies, it was probably 1.5 miles. I mean, you can just faintly hear it.
You like that saying, don't you?
But I guess,
as the crow flies,
I mean, it kind of fits.
Yeah.
But you could hear it getting closer when that bull was talking. So after about 45 minutes of this, he's just like, man, his guide's name was Ed. He was like, we can take an Ed venture and go down this thing and back up the other side. And I'm already panting just walking in a circle. I'm like, why don't we not? What's option B? And so he's like, well, we can take that grown-up logging road and go around the ridge and the saddle and come back in 2 loops, and should be coming in on it. I'm like, let's go. So we boogie over there. I say boogie over there. It was probably about 1.5 hours walking, and kind of following this road to get to that other side of that one mountain. And, he's still calling. He's cow calling. He's bugling, and he's staying in contact with it. So we get a distance from it, and Ed's like, all right, you take point. First of all, he told me, he's like, get up, get ready for your shot. And so I'm like, oh God, here we go. Moment of truth. Yeah, I'm like, okay, everything. And so I flip bipod down, I get binos off, and I get my fat butt in position for him to be like, never mind, let's go. I'm like, I just took all that stuff off. I'm laying down. It feels comfortable. But puts me on point, and we're probably 1/2 mile of like Elmer Fudd stalking, but we're on the edge of old grown up logging road, so we're not in the thicket but we're still on the incline too, but on the flat portion. It's just beautiful. It's gorgeous. I mean, it's Idaho. Mm-hmm. So we go around a couple of these corners, and each time, we're switching sides of the road so you can kind of sneak around the corner to have the view. And we come around one. Ed stops and he goes, "Here's the deal. I'm cow calling this thing, so this thing's coming to love us. If he comes charging through that brush around this corner, you shoot him in the face." He's like, "Because you're either going to get that or you're going to get a nice setup shot." He's like, "Be ready for both." So then my heart is just like a doom. And we're walking again. Finally, I just stop. I don't know. I had this moment of clarity, and I hand big props to Big Dan at that range and my buddy Ridge Pogue, who's my competition shooting friend, who really taught me really how to shoot this rifle. And I just stopped and I'm like, "Damn it, this is what I came here for, and I'm as prepared as I can be. Just calm down." Because I was like, whew. And man, some just kind of found a cool piece. Mm-hmm. And we come around this one corner, and the guide was like, "Hey, why don't you set up over there because he's fixing to come right here." So I set up. It's just so easily perfect. I set up my bipod on a tree stump, and I set down, for all you children out there, I set down crisscross applesauce behind it. And he walks it right in. And he comes in, and it's about somewhere between 70, 80 yards.
Oh, man.
The coolest thing about it, though, is Ed, the guide's probably 20 yards behind me. And I know at home y'all can't see this, but I'm here on the stump, and he's across the road and back, and this bull's coming here. Well, I see the horns, but I think they're mule deer, because we've seen a bunch of mule deer up there. Mm-hmm. But they were the elk's brow tines. What I didn't know is he was down about 6 feet off this little steep whatever. So I'm watching him, or I'm watching what I see. There's also a little pine tree, so you can't see any body, and plus he's down. So I'm still looking over here where he keeps calling. I don't know why I told him. He goes like this to me, and I give him what I determined in that moment was the universal sign for, "Yeah, I see the mule deer." I go, I do a hang loose sign to him, and I was just like, he's like, I see his face, and I knew, I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I still see what I'm thinking is a mule deer, but here's and the wind's coming at us, so the guide was Ed Anderson, did great getting us in position, working the wind and all that, and I see another set of horns, but again, it looks like a mule deer horns, like the big ones, whatever those points are. And so, but out of a dadgum movie. I just go like this, and I'm already trying to get my breathing, and I'm not nervous at all because I don't think it's an elk, but I'm also not wanting to scare this mule deer. And then it just took that one step up that little 6-foot grade, and my majestic thing happened because he raised his head, and I seen all 5x5 come up and just his whole torso, and I just went. I exhaled, looked down, exhaled, shot him, and hit him right in the heart, and the first thing that hit was his chin.
Wow.
And I was like, then I started shaking like, yeah. Oh my God, I did it. It happened like what Ridge and Dan were telling me, if you do it right, you won't have time to get nervous, be quick. And that's probably elementary to all your hunter listeners, but to a guy like me that hasn't ever hunted anything of that size or nature, I've only shot 2 whitetail in my life, and like I've said, I was 20 plus years ago. It was pretty magical.
Dude, that's awesome,
cool,
man.
It was very, very
I've still
cool.
Never shot an elk.
It was so bad.
He's shot a few.
I shot 2.
He's an old vet
with bows, and it's just adrenaline dump, man.
Dude, I called my dad from the mountain, and he was like, he was pumped. He was stoked for me because I FaceTimed him like, hey. He's like, hey, let me call you back. I'm in a meeting. I'm like, I can't have time. I need to show you my friend. And then he was like, oh, shit. And so he got real pumped and this and that. And, of course, typical dad, real fired up for me. He was like, now, imagine if you had a bow and you had to be about 55 yards closer and you had to be quiet and all that shit. I'm like, whoa, that's why I'm not up here bow hunting.
Yeah, no reason to start that way. You had plenty of fun the way you did it, right?
Yeah, you got time.
It was great, man. It was a really neat experience. And then, we got lucky too, since it was right by that logging road. That was grown up. It wasn't a used road.
Sign me up for that.
Brother, he dropped in the middle of the old tracks. That was because my dad was like, "How far off the road are you?" And I just put the camera down, like, I'm kind of in the middle of it. He's like, "You lucky devil."
That's funny,
that's
man.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
What's the family think about eating elk meat?
Yeah, I was
Love
going to
it.
ask, does your wife eat meat?
Oh yeah, she loves that.
Okay.
That was her thing too. Like, she gave my dad and buddies. She doesn't care. Truthfully, she doesn't care. But she'll give them a hard time for hunting for sport. But most everybody I know, eats the meat. And a lot of times we get venison from friends who just have small families and can't handle it all. And no, she's not. She's not against it. Like I said, she's not against it at all. It's just not her cup of tea.
Yeah.
But I've been giving her so much flack. Like, we're going to hang this. I'm going to have an elk. It's going to be right above the mantle. And the thing is,
Right above the bed, baby.
Oh,
Come on.
no, it gets better. Because when I got home, I said, we didn't think about this. Because it's in Idaho being mounted now. I'm like, that rat can't get through a standard door. And we have French double doors on our bedroom. So it's going right above the bed. And she's like, one night in bed, she's like, "Hey, you're not serious, are you?" And I'm like, "I don't know."
Just have to wait and see.
Yeah.
Right.
She's like, "Well, before you left, you said you were going to offer it, if your dad wanted to put it up at his house." I'm like, "But what if he doesn't?" She's like, "Then you said you're going to offer Mesquite Creek Outfitters. What if they don't?"
Yeah.
But in truth be told, in defense of my wife, she's an elk meat eating machine. When I left, she's like, "Hey, just get the freezer full. That's all I want."
Yeah.
I'm like, "No, I'm trying." And in her defense, our whole house, like, an elk head would look about as appropriate as if you mounted one at at a techno rave. Like, our house is so hippie aesthetics and old vintage stuff, and then there would be this beautiful, majestic creature that needs to go above our bed. So, yeah, I think I just talked myself into it.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, a little something odd. Well, I know that you've got a show that you're going to have to go play tonight here in just a little bit. So, appreciate all your time. One thing I would like to give you the opportunity to do is send people where you want to send them so they can...
To every live show ever that I ever play. Ever.
Because that's the only place you really can make money these days as a musician.
Yep. There in the website, bartcrowmusic.com. We do... People are pretty cool. I mean, everybody's in a weird spot. But it seems like the people who have been fortunate, like my brother and all my friends, they haven't missed a day of work. And, construction world's got to keep cruising, baby.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people, fans, friends, people I don't know, people we know from other gigs and stuff, I feel, have been very cool about, somewhat spreading the wealth. Like, they've been hitting the website. Our merch sales have been really good and helped us keep moving. And, it's allowed me to take some merch sales and send the guys checks when we didn't work for 7 months. And, a lot of people, it's every man for themselves, but I got a band that I love, and I think they love me. I don't know.
Yeah, they do.
So I, was able to send everybody a little money, not a lot, but something better than nothing. And so I feel like people who haven't been financially boogered are still buying merch and doing what they can to help some of us that made terrible decisions in our career choices.
Yeah, for real. Have you felt that there's a weird hypocrisy maybe with like all the different gatherings of people while musicians can't go play shows and stuff like that?
100%.
Yeah.
Want everybody to just come out and be mad about something at my show. There'll be like 500 people show
Don't
up.
protest at Bart Crow show.
Yeah.
There ain't many protesters listening right now, I can guarantee you.
Just like you guys, I don't care about, I care, but they're in my own head, my political thoughts and things.
Sure.
But there's a hypocrisy on every news outlet station you watch. So
I was talking about it last night with my brother-in-law. It's just
I think the thing that is most baffling to me is the blatant lies and hypocrisy on different topics, and the amount of free-thinking, intelligent adults who will see one thing one way when it's played out in front of you a different way. And it's like, what? Just at least say, no, that's not right, even though I like that team better.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't be, my analogy would be, you can be a fan of the Houston Astros, and you can love that they won the World Series, but you can't lie and say they didn't cheat with the sign stealing. Mm-hmm. So just be a free-thinking, intelligent human.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I think it's good.
I think that's a good analogy. I think I'm brilliant.
I think it is too, man. Yeah. I think it's right. I mean, it's right in line with what I'm thinking.
Please don't start a podcast. You'll put us out of business so fast.
Dude, I'm so lazy. I can't even keep my merchandise up. And that's money that's sitting on the website.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, it's like these handwritten lyrics that we're doing for the holidays. You should have seen my reaction when management said I should do that. You would have thought they wanted to extract my teeth without deadening them. And I've done like 6 so far, and it's taken me a grand total of maybe 40 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's between Captain sees a squirrel and gets distracted.
Yeah.
Like, it's no effort, little carpal tunnel, but I'm just like, I forgot being an adult, you don't, and I'm not an attorney, so I don't sit and write on paper that often. Mm-hmm. And I can write a few sentences, and I'm like,
dude, it hurts,
my
man.
wrist hurts.
Nobody writes anymore.
Why am I squeezing my pen so hard? Where's it going?
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well,
thank you guys. Thanks for the invite, man.
Appreciate
Thanks for
it,
the friendship. And great to meet you.
Yeah, you too, brother.
And I enjoyed this. I hope my answers aren't as mundane as they sounded in my head, because I can be long-winded.
No, man, it's something cool and different.
You wait till you get a guy from Canada, basically, on this podcast talk about deer hunting, and you'll find out how mundane people can actually be.
Right on.
No, but I appreciate it,
man.
Yeah, dude. Good luck tonight. What else? Oh, where should people go that want to request shows with Tyler and the Tribe that Bart Crow would play?
They don't.
Okay. They don't request that.
They don't
or
want
they
that.
don't
They
want to go
don't want.
there.
They don't.
Yeah.
At all.
The universe will explode, I think. So.
Yes. No. Absolutely. Please do that. Again, go to bartcrowmusic.com, and if you go to the contact page, you'll see Shelby Vonick, who's my booking agent.
Yeah.
And you let her know how much the Tyler and the Tribe guys need to come close shows for Bart Crow. That way they can be in bed early. The Bart Crow side.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man.
Does it count for love if I leave the show early to go to bed early, but the rest of the band stays and parties and cheers y'all on?
I think it's whatever the contract says, so just write it in. You know what I mean?
Y'all just close the show.
I'm all good with that. I'm good with my guys doing the closing, and I'm gonna probably jet out too.
You want to hang out with my band?
Yeah, we were.
We're about
How about you and I just? Why don't you and I just open the show acoustic,
dude?
And then the
that
bands can
is
figure
the
out
idea.
who plays when and what.
Yeah,
Remember,
instrumental versions of "Wear My Ring" and stuff, right?
Pure Country. You remember that movie? You know,
I remember that movie.
They turn the smoke and turn the lights down. We're about the same height. I can just be Dusty and nobody will know.
No, Mr. 205.
You know,
no, we need to beef you up.
He can do it.
I can do it. Don't you worry. Duplex cookie time.
Oh, heaven forbid I lose the weight to get down to you. No, come on.
Yeah. Well, once again, man, thanks for doing this.
Thanks, buddy.
Been a while.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Too long.
Dude, old Bart's a pretty cool guy.
For sure.
I mean,
Yep.
I didn't know how this would go because it's, it's somebody I didn't really know, and you figure out that a lot of times musicians are either total weirdos or they're total weirdos. One of those is bad, one of those is good, and Bart's the good kind.
Yeah, for sure, man. He is, man. He's quirky, kind of funny,
Yeah.
I like people like that, man, a lot.
Oh yeah, man. It sounds like he's getting back into the hunting thing for the right reasons too, and that's cool. I can definitely respect that.
Let me tell you something too about this, because
let's hear it.
I really am glad, because I didn't know for sure how this could have gone one of two ways, and the way it went was the better of the two, where he is doing it for the right reasons, and he likes to use methods that include hunting versus just shooting. And a lot of the musicians that I used to tour with and stuff do hunt, because there's a lot of country musicians that play in those circles. And a lot of them are basically, they tour pretty hard. And so they've only got a few days, and they end up going to some place that's not very big, and deer don't have a whole lot of place to go, if you know what I mean. And then they end up shooting, 335 in their 2 days off, or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like, it's just, I like to see that the other side of it can be taken on by a musician, and that it can be understood, and that it can be enjoyed as well, even if even if there's no success every time,
Yeah, absolutely, man. Speaking of success, last season we had a extraordinarily successful element hog hunt with just a couple of the True Blue element buddies, and we want to share that with a lot more of y'all this year. We talked about doing some stuff in this giveaway that we have going on, and kind of polled the audience about what we should do, and some people were like, y'all should give away a hunt with y'all. I was like, well, that's a crappy prize, but y'all can come hunt with us if you want to. So we decided to do this springtime hog hunt meetup because it's a good time. There's not a lot of other hunting seasons going on, and we'd like to really just kind of get together. What we're going to do is get together on February the 12th, a Friday evening, all kind of meet up, share a meal together, and talk about, of course, some hog hunting, maybe even some deer tactics, some mapping stuff, establish where we're going hunting. It's going to be in Northeast Texas, of course, but there'll be more details to follow on that. And then Saturday morning, the 13th, we'll all get up, go hog hunting, have a ton of fun, shoot some pigs, and just go wild. So, Tyler, how do the people sign up for this deal?
So you can go to the website, theelementwild.com, and go to our the tabs, and you can go to shop, which is where our apparel is. And it looks like on mine that the first shirt to show up is the Make 'em Squeal shirt. It's an orange public land shirt, because when you go out there running around chasing pigs with shotguns, you're going to need a t-shirt. And so it's a blaze orange. It's got a pig on it. It says Make 'em Squeal 2021. And so we've got them set at a price of $15, which basically covers the shirt and gives us a little bit of room to make some food. We are not going to make any money on this, just so you know. But that's your admission to this. There's a limited number of them, and so if you're gonna want to do this, you're gonna need to get in as soon as possible, because at some point I'm gonna put a limit on the number of shirts probably that we have left in stock, and that is all that's going to happen. This hunt is going to be in Northeast Texas. I'll just tell you that. We're not going to tell you exactly where it is until you have your shirt. But it's going to be Northeast Texas on the 12th and 13th, and it's going to be a good time. We're going to hunt. You gotta go out there and hunt however you want, but we're going to be out there with shotguns trying to take some down, man.
Oh, we're going to take some down. We're going to make them squeal, you know what I'm saying? So anyways, guys, if you're interested in that, it'd be a lot of fun to all meet up and do that. If you haven't, go subscribe on YouTube, send us a screenshot, enter the giveaway, and be sure that you also follow us on our social media platforms like Facebook and Insta. That way you can see how to gain a couple extra chances at winning this 10K giveaway that we got going on. Otherwise, I hope that you are finishing out your season strong, whatever that means. If that means shooting a couple does, if that means just getting after the pigs, if that means you're still trying to chase that big old buck, listen, I know that it seems like the rut is over and that deer season is just ending forever, but it's not. Okay, guys, there's still plenty of deer in the woods, so get out there and get after them. Tyler, is there anything else that you need to make the people aware of?
I think you covered all the bases, man.
Good. 1, 2, 3. Is there more than 3 bases? Because home plate isn't a base, right?
No. Well, I don't know.
I don't know. It's a good question. Anyways, guys, I hope you are living life to the fullest. I hope that you're going to have a great Christmas with your family and friends. And remember, this is your element.
Live in it.
The new Meat Eater Outdoor Cookbook Wild Game Recipes for the Grill, Smoker, Campfire, and Camp Stove is out on April 24th and is available for pre-order now. Here is your book for everything that's best cooked or eaten outside, from grilling to open fire cooking to Dutch ovens to smokers to barbecue to backpacking meals to how to pull off the perfect fish fry, with pit stops along the way for lessons about Ice Age cooking methods and the best 5 ways to construct a cooking fire you can be proud of. And of course, We're focusing on wild game and fish here with over 100 recipes, including stuffed venison burgers 3 ways, wild duck with ahi verde sauce, a jerky made with cola, a gin and tonic made with fire-charred lemons, and grilled frog legs made with a sticky sweet sauce. This ain't your normal cookbook, so be prepared to be surprised. Pre-order your copy now. For more info, visit themeateater.com.